When Trump comes to town, nations with any sense at all pull out all the stops. He arrived today at the NATO summit in Turkey, escorted by horseback riders, and Turkish President Erdogan greeted Trump at the blue carpet. Cannons firing off in the background. It was quite a show. And a military flyover roared overhead. And I kind of think of it this way. Daddy comes to NATO and lectured the kids for not behaving.
We didn't need any help at all. And in a way, I was testing people. I was testing to see whether or not they'd be there, because I've long said that we help them, but I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. And Italy turned us down, and Germany turned us down, and France turned us down. And it's okay. But, you know, why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars and they're not there for us? We've always been there for them.
Now, that test is becoming more relevant now. The U.S. launching strikes against Iran late today in retaliation for the regime, again hitting commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Here to respond, Nathan Sales, Ambassador at Large, former counterterror coordinator under Trump. Mr. Ambassador, this seems like a game of whack-a-mole here. I think people are like rolling their eyes at this point. What's happening?
A couple things are happening. First of all, what's happening in Turkey? The president's delivering a clear message to NATO. We believe in the alliance, but you have to believe in the alliance too, because this is not just a piece of parchment. NATO is designed to deter Russian aggression, and Putin's not going to be scared away by promises. What he's going to be scared away by is actual defensive spending. And that's, I think, one of the president's great legacies. He's gotten them to agree to 3.5%, 5%, depending on how you slice the cheese. That's a major accomplishment into turning NATO back into what it was supposed to be, a real alliance with real capabilities.
But what is very fuzzy to me, Mr. Ambassador, is that NATO doesn't seem to be all that worried about Iran. If Iran is the threat, it's an immediate threat to the Gulf region, Gulf countries, but also to Europe.
This is a great point. And we actually saw evidence of this during the war when the Iranians launched a ballistic missile into the Indian Ocean that was capable of hitting Europe if it had been pointed the other way. So the Europeans are under military threat from Iran, and the Europeans also have
but they don't
economic.
Seem to care.
Well, so NATO as an alliance might take a pass on this, but individual countries who are part of NATO, we actually saw them belatedly start to step up. So what we've heard from the Brits and the French is we're going to actually help the United States with a maritime coalition to keep the Strait open. Now, like, I would have preferred for them to do that a couple of months ago, but I guess better late than never.
Trump also took a dig at, some of the other European countries, I think, by praising a leader like Erdogan, who a lot of Turks who are here in the United States, they can't stand Erdogan, think he's a tyrant, but he praised him. Watch.
We have a better relationship with Turkey, and Turkey's been in many ways much more loyal than other countries that we think would be loyal. I was very disappointed with NATO, and frankly, if it weren't held in Turkey, where my friend happens to be a very strong leader, a very strong person, it's possible that I wouldn't have attended.
There were a lot of people who were upset about that in the old globalist establishment because, like, wait, Trump's making really good friends with Turkey. He was already friendly with Erdogan. He doesn't want to have an antagonistic relationship with anyone. But then the issue of sanctions, I guess, was that against Turkey came up?
Right. So Trump is playing the long game with Turkey. They may not be our best ally, but they're an ally, and we'd rather have them on our side than on somebody else's side. The sanctions issue came up. Turkey wants to buy our F-35s, most advanced fighter jet in the world. The issue is they previously bought Russian S-400 missiles, and we can't have those two systems on the same network because that means Vladimir Putin is spying on our most advanced fighter. That's a non-starter. So American law and the previous administration, the Trump administration during the first term said, we're not going to give you the F-35 as long as you're playing footsie with the Russian military.
This seems kind of smart, right? I mean, I think Rubio, I don't know, was Rubio gasping when he heard that? It seemed like there was some consternation of that comment.
I think there is a way forward here. Turkey can get the F-35s, but the president has been clear from his first term.
So he's boxing him out. He's boxing Russia out by trying to get, I mean, he's playing, multidimensional chess here. All right, Mr. Ambassador, thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.